Friday Linkies. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 10th of July. Um, Please comment in the boxes below. 1 week or 2 weeks ago, should I say, I was sat here talking to myself for over 35 minutes. No one said anything. I mean, in fairness, I know the majority of you don't say anything anyway. I think week in, week out, up to 2,500 people watch these LinkedIn lives, and yeah, there's only like 10% of you who ever comment. So please get involved in the conversation. You will see that now I have changed these weekly lives to include the entire job search, because as you will know before, and I say this week in, week out, you have 5 touch points when it comes to a job search. So you've got your CV, your LinkedIn, your portfolio. Then there's your personal brand and your how you conduct your job search itself. So that will include all of the introductory emails, etc. So I wanted to cover absolutely everything, because when I was doing the portfolio masterclasses, there were often questions about LinkedIn or a job search, etc. Certainly from my perspective, when I go through applications, the CV and portfolio, and mainly the portfolio, is the one factor that really does tip applications over the line. So that's why I was so heavily kind of invested in going through the portfolios. But, let's open it up and let's talk about absolutely every single aspect. So I think when it comes to a job search, most of you follow ridiculous guidelines like the 2-3 page CV, which in architecture and design simply does not work. You would have seen this past week I've been advertising interior design roles, and going through the applications that have been made online, not one person has a CV with the projects in it, and their portfolios, 100% of them, only contained 3D renders. None of their work, none of their inspired ideas or any insights into how they took the brief and came up with ideas and solutions, problem solved, etc., or like detailing work. Like, there's nothing. It's just 3D renders, and no one can decipher whether, from my perspective, certainly, those people look like 3D visualizers. It looks like they've just changed their title to an interior designer just because we're advertising for an interior designer, and that's not how it works, people. Like, a 3D visualizer and an interior designer are two different positions. So, I think if you're a 3D visualizer out there, go and have a look. Go and do a search on what interior designers do on a daily basis, because it's a lot more than 3D renders. But this goes for architecture as a whole. We get so many of you, landscape architects, design architects, technical architects, master planners, urban designers, I don't know if I said that already, who literally just put 3D renders in. So are you a 3D visualizer? Or actually, someone this week actually said that they think that people want photographs of the projects, and that's not what a portfolio is about at all. Certainly from my perspective, we've had incredible results with our AE Masterclass and our Portfolio Masterclass, and the Platinum subscribers who have had their eyes opened into how powerful a portfolio is. So what we are trying to achieve throughout our masterclasses is give the hiring manager an insight and a window into what it's like working with you on a daily basis. So yes, we want to see your 3D renders if you produce 3D renders, but we also want to see the pre-concept work, the concept design work, the technical details, the construction drawings, and we want to get a feel about what you enjoy doing. I think portfolios definitely just talk about the projects themselves rather than going into any detail about what you do on a daily basis. But anyway, so I keep waffling on about portfolios. Are any of you here today? Start commenting. So last week, or during the course of this week, I have been promoting some guests that we've got coming on during the course of July, and it gets kicked off with Ray. So Ray is going to join us, I think, on the 24th of July. And he specializes in making architectural practices more profitable. Now, you may be thinking, how does this kind of follow into a job search? Well, you know, what we want to do is give you as much information as possible and as many options so that you can learn how to get into managerial roles. So working your way through your career and learn the skills that you need to know so that you make great managers or great directors, great partners. You know, it's the commercial aspect. And then we have Andy Shaw, who was the ex-chair of the Gulf region of REBA. So we are going to be discussing all sorts, AI, what it's like to work in the Middle East, and we will look at some commercial aspects as well. But I want you to kind of get thinking about all the questions that you want answered by these people, because we've got some awesome guests. And then we have Nikita Morel. So Nikita builds websites for architects and engineers, and I've come across quite a lot of her content where we say exactly the same thing about architects. You know, it's the 3D renders again. and the fact that architects seem to hide behind the projects, and we want to see, we want to understand what you do on a daily basis. We want to be in that briefing room with your clients and learn about, you know, the ideas, where you get your inspiration from, etc. So that's going to be a little bit more of a free-flowing kind of conversation, which I cannot wait for. We had loads to talk about when we did our when we had our catch up. So really looking forward to having all three guests on, and I hope I'm going to be getting out a lot of emails this week, just so you know, over the course of this week. We've got over 100,000 subscribers, so we are going to get emails out so that you can find all of these events. Also, what I do want to do is today is show you exactly where to find all of these events. Let me just make sure that I'm getting the right tab. But let me show you on a screen share so that, here we go, you can see exactly where to find all of these events. So where are we? Right. So this is my LinkedIn page. And if you scroll down here, what you will see is a events tab here. So as you will see, we've got Ray Brown, Andy Shaw, Nikita Morel. So once you have decided who you want to see, or maybe you want to see all of them, go on to the event. Actually, you're going to see something different, I think. I don't know how to see what you guys see, actually, but you get the picture. If you go into one of these, you'll be able to click your attendance, and then you'll get a notification. Also, when you go onto my profile, there'll be a bell over here on the right hand side. Click that so that you get all the notifications on the future LinkedIn Lives. Let me see if I can get you back now. Stop. Here we go. So yeah, hopefully that will give you a bit of insight into where you get the notifications, how to find the future LinkedIn Lives. I'm trying to kind of line them up so that you're prepared ahead of time. And I just want to double check that we are actually live as well, because I don't want to sit here again for half an hour, 45 minutes talking to myself. But yeah, please let me know if you are tuned in. And so that's where you can find all of the events. But yes, I will be getting emails out to over 100,000 of you, so that you know more about these events, what we're going to discuss. But yeah, so I did quite a few coaching sessions this week with my platinum subscribers. If you want to know more, by the way, I'm going to discuss like the 5 elements of a job search. And if you register on our website, the AE recruitment website, please only architects, designers, etc. We don't need any IT people. We certainly last week, lots of IT people were messaging me about portfolios. I don't work in IT or computer science, any of that kind of stuff. Information technology is what I was trying to say there, rather than computer science. I don't cover information technology at all. It's architecture, like buildings, please, and interior design and landscape architecture. Oh, we've got some, yay! Hi, Alex. Lovely to see you here. Pencho. Yeah, surrender your private life, please. Also, the lives of your family, if you may. I have no idea what you mean by that. Right. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Alex, for letting me know that you're here. Pencho, I have no idea what you mean here. So, I was going through quite a few, coaching sessions this week with my platinum subscribers, and I've got an amazing graduate landscape architect. Oh, actually, I'll finish off what I was saying here because somebody's just scanned. So if you register on our website, you will receive 5 emails on all the 5 points of a job search, and in those emails you will receive 3 questions and 3 pieces of advice of how to update your CV, portfolio, LinkedIn, job search. There's obviously a lot more than that, but I wanted to first off give you an insight into the fact that you have a plethora of options, and that's what I was going through with my platinum subscribers this week. So I had quite a few coaching sessions, and I've got this graduate landscape architect who is going to fly in her career. But she was like, Hayley, I want to get ahead of this. I want to learn all of these skills so that I can update my CV and portfolio as I go along, which is absolutely amazing. This is what we're looking for. We don't want you to wait until you get to a job search to think, oh, I need to update my CV, because I think, certainly once you start applying to roles, etc., and if you're being ghosted, it's a sure sign that you need to update your CV and portfolio immediately, and your LinkedIn. I've got someone on doing the AE Masterclass, and he sent a recommendation a couple of weeks ago. He said, Hayley, I haven't even got through the portfolio modules yet, and I've already got an interview. So he'd been looking for a job for over 2 years and had been ghosted for that time, and he got onto our AE Masterclass, and he got an interview within weeks. So it seriously works. Those 5 emails, you'll get your everything, those 3 insights. But yeah, so our amazing graduate landscape architect, she said, Hayley, over the years, I've been told that my CV must be 2-3 pages. And this is one of my gripes. And one of the reasons why I'm doing these LinkedIn Lives again is the fact that I asked her, I said, so how did you feel about, putting everything into a 2-3 page? And she just said, well, I had to cut out my projects. That's one of the key points that we need to know about when we're trying to find candidates for a client. We search on the projects. So, you know, what sector that is. Maybe we're looking for an architect who specializes on luxury residential projects. So we will look for residential or housing, you know, those two words. If that doesn't appear in your CV, you're never going to get found. So again, this is why we're doing these LinkedIn Lives. I want you guys to come to me with all your questions about your CV, LinkedIn, portfolio, job search, personal brand. You know, they all kind of marry together. And once you've got this personal brand, and you feel a bit freer with the information that you're putting into your CV and portfolio and LinkedIn, everything starts to flow. So, you know, yes, another point that she brought up was, you know, hiring managers are really busy and they don't have time to go through CVs and portfolios. I tell you what, they've got less time for is not finding the right information. They are never, ever, ever going to go back to 800 applicants and say, you know, what projects have you been working on? What a waste of time. Hey, you know, they're going to go back to the people who have the information there. So get out of your head that you need to restrict the information or your CV down to 2-3 pages, because A, you're going to have to cut out information that we need, and B, you know, we want you to just feel free. It's a much easier process if you give us all the information. And like I say to our platinum subscribers, if it's not in your CV and portfolio, it never happened. Remember that. You know, if you're leaving out information, we don't have time to go back to all of you. Like with these interior design roles, I've had to send an email to I think it's about 120 people to say that they need to update their CV and portfolio. CV just it's bland. I don't know what projects that they're working on. The portfolio just contains renders. I have no idea if they're actually interior designers or not, or if they're just 3D visualizers. So yes, I think we've got some Neva. I think that's how I pronounce your name. What kind of architectural concepts do you consider? Could you give me more information? Architectural concepts. So, you know, think about what you actually do on a daily basis. Do you sketch ideas? If yes, include those. Do you come up with pre-concept ideas? So, you know, you're taking the hiring manager through a journey of what you do. So the objective is for the hiring manager to literally sit there, go through your CV and portfolio, and for him or her to sit there and think, okay, this is the level of work that this person is going to produce if they're sat in that vacancy. Once a hiring manager is actually visualizing you sat in their office, the interviews like completely change. So rather than and this is also a key indicator for the rest of you out there. If you're getting interviews and not getting job offers, you're probably talking yourself out of a job. So what the portfolio does is gives a really kind of clear view of what level of work you would produce and whether that kind of marries with what the hiring manager is looking for. But also the interview conversation changes completely. So the normal interviews are like, right, what do you do? So they're basically trying to clarify that they've got the right story within the body of your CV and portfolio. So that's a clear indicator that they're not quite sure what you do. But yeah, if you've got everything in your CV and portfolio, the interviews really change in the way that the line of questioning, they change into how do we work together? So can you see the difference there? What do you do and how can we work together? It's incredibly powerful when your portfolio gives a clear view. So let me give you a bit of a run through what we're looking for in your portfolio. So the hiring managers are looking for, so there's 4 points. 4 points. I will come to you, Samira, in just a second. So 4 points we're looking for in your portfolio. Clarity. So this is key. If your interviews are more conversation about what you do, then you need more clarity within the body of your CV and portfolio. So clarity, what does your portfolio effectively communicate? Does it mirror your CV story? So go through your CV and really think about your daily role in a linear fashion. And does your portfolio contain all of that imagery that is spoken about in your CV? It's really simple if you think about it like this. So mirror everything that is in your CV in your portfolio. So it's a visual documentation of what you've spoken about in your CV. So that's number one, clarity of what you do on a daily basis. Number two, vision. So beautiful ideas that address the project brief, and then the context and the buildability. It's no good putting together these like whimsical ideas and they're not buildable. That's no good to anyone. So make sure that it's buildability that you're looking at. Three, the process. So we need to see evidence of how you think in the form of sketches, diagrams, concepts, development, and technical drawings. So right the way through the process. And then growth. So in the body of your portfolio, there's some hiring managers that really want to see the university work and then right the way through your career. They want to see what you've learned along the way and how quickly you're picking up the information. So yeah, those are the 4 points that hiring managers are looking at. So it's clarity, vision, process, and growth. So what are the telltale signs that your portfolio needs updating? Well, make a copy of your portfolio first off, then remove all the 3D renders. What do you have left? Do you have a story? Is there a storytelling element to your portfolio? Are you talking about the projects itself, or are you actually talking about the role that you had and walking the reader through? Because I think sometimes people put in a lot of imagery, but we don't know whether you produce those images or somebody else in your team. So we need to understand, we need that clarity within your portfolio. So take out your 3D renders. What do you have left? Right, I think we've got some questions coming in. So Samira, thank you everyone for showing up today and coming with your questions. I'm loving this. So hi. So we shouldn't write the names of our projects in CV. No, you should. Please, please, please add the projects in your CV. What I was trying to say, Samira, is this ridiculous rule that some coach somewhere made up about the 2-3 page maximum CV is ridiculous. There's not one hiring manager on this planet that opens up a document or a CV and says, oh, they've gone over 3 pages, reject. How ridiculous does that sound? It's, this idea has been born from some sort of career coach somewhere along the line who's probably not in recruitment, has never been in the recruitment setting, to understand that the lack of information is stopping people from getting jobs. So please, please, please include your projects in your CV. So if you want, by the way, CV templates for free, register on the A Recruitment website and you will gain access to a sea of templates. Please make them your own. I had somebody last week saying that they wanted the A Recruitment branding, which is very complimentary, and thank you very much. But, what I'm trying to do these LinkedIn Lives for is to give you a window into the fact that I want you to embrace your design skills and show the world who you are. Be original. One of my platinum subscribers this week said she really comes to life when she talks about certain things in her career, and I was like, she sent me her updated CV over with the projects, please. And I was like, it's not quite what I was expecting from you, because you're so vibrant when you talk about certain projects. Like, where are they in your CV? And she just went, oh, yeah. I was kind of thinking that maybe I shouldn't because maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And I was like, look, people and humans make decisions based on emotions. I've got a fly flying around. um, People make decisions based on emotions. So if your CV and portfolio doesn't create that emotion, and if you're not original, I mean, I'll give you an insight here. So if I go through my emails, the people that I remember are the ones that bring in some humor or something into the body of their introductory email or their CV, or they've really gone to town. Like you see this with people that have worked for foster and partners or anyone of that kind of ilk. If I say to them, right, I know that your portfolio can do better than this, they're like, yeah, I knew you were going to say that. And they come back, they understand branding at the end of the day. Um, you just need to give them a little kind of nudge in the right direction, and their CV and portfolio comes back completely different. And I actually had this at the beginning of this year. Actually, we had someone who used to work for Foster and Partners, and I was just like, is that all you've got? You haven't really spoken about your projects, and your portfolio doesn't really give me an idea of what you do on a daily basis. And he was like, oh, you know what? Hey, I was actually hoping that I could get away with it and just get past on the name. And unfortunately, we've gone past that time that you can get past, get an interview just based on the name. When I first started my career 27 years ago, you could definitely do that. That's when I was faxing CVs. My, how we've changed. But he went through our portfolio masterclass, which you will be able to find on our website. And this is the key here. He went from being out of work to having an interview and a job offer within 5 days. So that is the power of your portfolio. And I can't hammer that home enough. I think I'm going to be repeating that until the cows come home. Right, and I don't have any cows. So LinkedIn user, thank you for your question. I think it's a question anyway. I'm currently doing my first CV and portfolio after 25 years of working. Got ya. My approach was going to be one-page CV that summarizes work history. No. Portfolio to cover projects worked on, and cover letters specific to the firm that I would be applying to. Okay, let's start from the beginning. CVs. I've actually got someone at the moment who's a board director in landscape architecture, and I've had to go back to him and say, well, I need way more information. He's kind of, please don't do a one-page CV. I hate them. You're never going to come up in searches. But also, more importantly, when we're dealing with hiring managers, some of the comments they come back with are brutal. And they'll be like, Hayley, what is this? Where's the projects? I have no idea what this guy does on a daily basis, or female, whatever. I have no idea what they do on a daily basis. I can't make a decision based on that. Guaranteed, because we've got access, and the internet now. It's not like when I was working 25 or 27 years ago, or faxing CVs. Maximum we would get like 20 people applying to a job, and we had to put in some serious work to get that 20. We would be like posting letters everywhere, faxing out. Anyway, so now we get hundreds, if not thousands, of people applying to one job. Your job here is to help that hiring manager visualize what you would produce, the work that you would produce if you were to take that vacant seat. So get this whole one page out of your head. It restricts people. It definitely holds them back in their careers, certainly when it comes to a job search. I can't stress that enough. The amount of people that I have to go back on a daily basis because their CV is one page and their portfolio only contains 3D renders. Unless you're a 3D visualizer, which I'm sure you're not, It's just going to hold you back. So go to town. If you, by the way, LinkedIn user, please scan this code here or go on to aerecruitment.ae, register yourself an account, and you will get access to CV templates. Now, I think some of those, it is ridiculous. Even these templates, I've had to run into 4 pages because people aren't reading the courses before. They're just jumping straight to the templates. Yes, this CV template is going to be the answer to all my worries and not being noticed. No, you need to put some effort in. You need to be original. And we want the hiring manager to visualize you sat in that role. So that means a clarity in what you do on a daily basis is key here. If you've got 25 years experience, you've done a lot in your 25 years. I know that I have in my 27 years. I could ramble all day long. In fairness, I ramble for over an hour on LinkedIn every week. So you can see the amount of information I have in my head. And that's not even the half of it. The masterclasses go through way more than that, but it covers absolutely everything. So please go, and if you want the CV templates, please read the information before. So that's on the 1-page CV. Portfolio to cover projects. Yes, cover projects, but talk about yourself. We need to the sensory kind of wording as well. This is what I was working on with my platinum subscribers this week. It's got to feel original. It's got to feel like you. We make decisions based on emotions. Create that emotion. All of you come up with incredible buildings, designs, interior design spaces, landscape spaces, and you have the power to make people feel such a plethora of emotions. And then when it comes to your CV and portfolio, it's devoid of it. I want to be transported into your briefing room and through the journey of your project. So I want your portfolio, to contain you. I want to know how you solved issues in the project. I want to know this. I want to see the sketches. I want to see the concept design, the pre-concept, the construction documentation, technical. Why am I I'm struggling with my words right this second. But yeah, I want to be transported into how you dealt with those clients, where you got your inspiration from, and how you make people feel. What was the objective? What was the brief? And did you're not always going to fulfill the initial brief. You're going to guide your client through the journey. So how did you do that? I'm sure 25 years of experience, you've got a lot to pass on. So yes, I want you to go to town. But if you guys register on the AE Recruitment website, you will get 5 emails covering your CV, your portfolio, your LinkedIn, your personal brand, and job search. So it's passing on skills that we recruitment consultants use to find these jobs. So and it's only you'll get 3 insights on each of those 5 areas or 5 touch points. But your personal brand is the thing that people gravitate towards. It's the emotion where you create this emotion. So I really want you to feel more inspired about your CV and portfolio and LinkedIn. I keep saying and after CV, portfolio and LinkedIn to create this emotion. And honestly, once you do that, your job search, you'll never worry about it ever again. It's like what I say to my platinum subscribers. They get it. They're just like, oh God, I used to kind of worry about the market and what they think and they now know, going through our masterclasses, that it's got nothing to do with anyone else. They can create the roles themselves just by people picking up on the passion in their LinkedIn or their CV and portfolio. And I've had it multiple times. during my career, too many to mention, where I've had an amazing candidate through who gets the personal branding side. You know, their CV, portfolio, and LinkedIn were all insanely good. And I've phoned up one of my clients and gone, you're going to have to interview this person. And they're like, oh, why? Like, okay, let me send you their CV and portfolio now. Let me know what you think. And they've arranged interviews on the spot. So that is the power of a great CV and portfolio. And by the way, you know, I've done this when the client themselves, the hiring manager, didn't have a vacancy. So, you know, they are seriously powerful. And if you've got if hiring managers are on LinkedIn and they see this kind of work, this level of work, and they feel the passion that you have for the industry and your job, you know, it's a no-brainer. You can teach certain things, but you can't teach a passion. You know, and that's incredibly important. You want those people in your team. I had someone say to me, I'm actually going to divulge something. I'm not going to tell you who told me this, but someone said to me this week, Hayley, I've got a little trick when it comes to interviews. He said, I've noticed that if somebody doesn't smile in an interview, they're probably not for us. They're not going to work. So that just gives you an idea of kind of people look at personalities, whether it's subconscious or conscious, and whether they're aware or not. You have the power to make people feel a plethora of emotions, and you do within the architectural work that you do. You know, all the spaces that you create and the amount of people that feel something in those spaces is amazing. I want that in your CV and portfolio. You know, you will fly in your careers if you can do that. So, right, I need to stop blabbering, don't I? Magda, I joined late. I'm not sure this topic was touched. I find networking uncomfortable. No, it hasn't been touched. So thank you, Magda. I find networking uncomfortable, in particular when approaching professionals have not interacted in the past. Should I mention about my career change? I realized the percentage of response is 2 to 3% in best scenario. Right, so you're covering, just so you know, Magda, I'm in something called Restream, so I can't actually see your portfolio or click. So I'm completely in the dark in what sector you're in within architecture and design, because there are kind of lots of ways. But anyway, what you can do and what people don't think about is using your LinkedIn as your sales page. And you've probably heard me say this over the years a lot, but you should be operating as your own personal business of one. So I want you to think about your LinkedIn as a shop window. So if people are coming and looking at your profile and then leaving again without saying anything, or if they're looking at your messages that you're, you know, when you're networking, etc., and messaging people, think about, you know, if they are looking at your profiles and then they're leaving without responding, etc., think about the reasons why. So firstly, and I can say this from my perspective, I get so many emails. Hayley, do you have anything for this? Do you have anything for that? I am sorry, I've just seen a towel fly off the line. So yeah, you know, what you kind of need to look at, I get lots and lots of CVs and portfolios daily. Lots of people saying, Hayley, do you have a position for a senior design architect or a landscape architect? Do you? It's physically impossible for me to go back to everyone and say, yes, how about look here? Really, just go onto our website, aerecruitment.ae, have a look at the jobs page and see if we have a vacancy that's suitable. And if not, register so that we at least have your details in our database and we can contact you. For us, LinkedIn is such a minefield, and I'm sure it is for many people out there, but you should be using your LinkedIn profile and thinking of it as a shop window. So if people are walking past without responding, maybe it needs updating. And if the figures are correct, there's only 1% of people, if that, on LinkedIn who actually use their LinkedIn profiles properly. Most people just have a company name, dates, and a job title. It's absolutely useless, really. You know, we need to know like the projects that you've worked on, the skills that you have, because again, what we find is CVs and LinkedIn profiles quite a lot of the time are very different. So there's one wording in the CV completely different in the LinkedIn. And you kind of assume that LinkedIn is going to be the place that people are most honest because they've got their colleagues to answer to or their bosses. But what you need to do, Magda, is get yourself out there on your LinkedIn. Update it, optimize it. If you don't know how to do that, register on our website. You'll get some insights, or that we've got our masterclasses, which you can join. You can work with me one-on-one and start posting and commenting on other people's work. But update your LinkedIn firstly, and then have a think about what you're putting out there. And if people aren't coming back to you, you know, start doing some research on other companies. What you have to kind of be a bit discerning when it comes to this. Look through your CV, put together a list of, this is a good point, put together a list of the companies that you've worked for. Then go on to those companies' LinkedIn profiles. And on the right-hand side, there's a box there that says similar companies. Make a list of those, because what LinkedIn has done, it's finding companies that are very similar to the companies that you're working for. And what you find, certainly in the recruitment process, is that companies usually take staff from similar companies and they swap. So it's, say if you're kind of, and I think this is a bit of a mistake for people in general, is we'll have people, and on a weekly basis, I have people say to me, Hayley, I want to work for Foster and Partners. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's have a look at your CV and portfolio. And if you have done any research on Foster and Partners and the people that work there, you will know that they use about 15 to 20 software programs, and extremely well. You know, you can see in their portfolios how well they can use this programming. So, you know, I'll get people who have worked for small, like architectural practices, working on like one-off kind of residential projects, and maybe they use AutoCAD, I don't know, Photoshop, InDesign. You know, firstly, Foster and Partners guys use so many programs that you're going to have to learn a lot right on the spot. And if hiring in general is extremely expensive, so you know, unless there's a quality they see, they're not really going to want to, if they're men short, they're not going to want to train as many, you know, they don't want to train you on a plethora of software. And you know, there's always one-off cases, there's always exceptions to the rule, but there's a lot of work. If you haven't worked on big international projects, and maybe you don't have the building regs experience, or the size and scale, and there's the software as well, then your chances dramatically reduce. So, you know, have a think about other companies that use similar software, work on similar projects. Maybe they've got a different setup, so you can learn via a new company, or speak to your current company. I want to learn this, you know. So hopefully that answers. I've kind of gone around the houses a little bit, Magda, but hopefully that answers that for you. Okay, I need a drink. I think maybe what I need to do is kind of give you a few insights on each of the 5 touch points. Samira, thank you so much. I write my duties in each company. I write some important projects in my summary in my CV. For example, I have done some projects from planetarium and science center to undersea playgrounds and plaza and public spaces. I'm getting from this that you may be in landscape. urban because there are so many projects and I cannot write all of them. Okay, well, so if you're just keeping your projects in the summary, how are we supposed to know what you've been doing on each of those projects? I'm going to take this in a slight, I've just had an idea here. Aha moment. Right. So we have clients of ours who say, right, Hayley, we're looking for project architects. Now, project architects are architects who work on projects right from inception through to site. And our clients who are looking for these project architects are very hot on the portfolios. So if the CV doesn't contain all of those wordings, so pre-concept sketch design, I think I said pre-concept already, and then the technical drawings, the construction drawings, and site work, they will choose somebody else who does have all of that written in their CV and also demonstrating it in their portfolio. Samira, what I want you to do, I know you can't write every project, but I'm already sensing your CV is too short. Go and register on our website and have a look on the CV templates. You have to add your projects in the body of your CV. You won't have exactly the same duties on each of those projects. We want to understand what issues you faced, how you solved those issues. We need you to give way more information so that you create the emotion for the client to go, right, okay, Samira has this experience. Yes, great. I promise you that it's extremely easy for all of you to stand out in the architecture and design space, because too many of you have listened to the ridiculous advice out there on the internet that you need a 2-3 page CV and your portfolio should be 3D renders. That is not the case. We cannot make a decision on hundreds or thousands of people that the CV just talks about, oh, I did this, I did a visualization. We need more information. Like, literally sit down and in a quiet space or something and write exactly what you have done on each project. I want to see that in your CV. I then want you to demonstrate it in your portfolio. Forget all these ridiculous rules that are holding you back. Because, yeah, like I said at the beginning, I've had to go back to nearly 120 interior designers this week because the CV is one page, gives zero information, and they didn't all, not 120 had one page, but they've got a reduced CV. I've no idea what projects they work on. And then when I've gone into the portfolio, there's only 3D renders. So in my mind, those people are not interior designers at all. I want to see mood boards. I want to see sketches. I want to feel the feeling of how you felt when you got the brief. What does the client want to create? How do they want to feel in their space? I want to be transported along the journey of your projects and what you've contributed to these projects. So yes, Samira, please go into far more detail in your CV and I'm sure in your portfolio. So CVs, what the tips here, flipping fly. So CVs, forget the 2-3 page ridiculousness out there. Maybe it works in finance or accounting or whatever, but it does not work in architecture and design. Go to town. I want to know. I want to know about you. I want to see your personality shine in your CV and portfolio. You're much easier. You will find a job much quicker if you use emotion. So, this is how you do it. We need to understand the sensory kind of language, and that's what will make you stand out in your job search. I promise you, because it's such a small proportion of people who do it. The people who truly embrace like our masterclasses, etc., they find jobs in days and weeks, not weeks, months, years. And if you go onto our AE masterclass, we've got a recommendation from Yusuf, who had deliberated about doing our masterclass. Actually, he was like, oh, I don't know, and he got an interview within weeks of go. He hasn't completed the masterclass, and he's already got interviews. So that goes to show just how easy it is to stand out. So the masterclasses are just a step-by-step process. I've spent years putting these things together, and indeed the clients that we work on the recruitment side are like, Hayley, portfolios are like night and day. You've probably heard me say this story, and for those of you who haven't, I'll say it again. So a few of our clients really loved the idea that we were helping candidates to update their portfolios. And I've had so much feedback from clients over the years, and it's usually only contains 3D renders, only renders. And I'm sick of hearing it. So I had to do something about this. So our clients, so on the businesses that we find staff for, were like, Hayley, right, let's do this. Let's go in with you. So we had two urban designers who were coming from the same company, and our client just went, oh, I'm not sure who to interview because their CV and portfolio is exactly the same. So can you put them through your portfolio masterclass and let's see what comes back? And one of them shone like you wouldn't believe. The company just said, Hayley, the interview is just a formality at this point, and the interview changed into how can we work together rather than what do you do, because his portfolio was so amazing that I had to like speak to my to the MD and say, no, you are going to interview this person. You can't just send out a job offer. But yes, so once your CV and portfolio and your LinkedIn is all aligned like this, this guy actually got a 37% increase in salary because his portfolio was so amazing. He shone undoubtedly in the interview, and super smooth process. So as soon as he got his updated portfolio over to me, he had an interview and offer the very next day. So I've got so many of these stories over the years for you. And so I really, really want you guys to kind of think about, stop feeling so shackled when it comes to your job search. Like, really put some time and effort into your CV. So way more pages than 3. No hiring manager out there is going to reject anyone because they have a 5-page CV. It's just ridiculous. Even saying that out loud sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? So look at that for your CV. Portfolio, I want to be transported into the briefing room. I want to know all the stages that you've worked on. LinkedIn is your shop window. So a key indication, if people are going on your LinkedIn and they are scooting off or they're not replying to your messages, yes, it's time consuming to reply to everyone, but it's a key indicator. Like, go onto your LinkedIn profile. Are you actually giving anyone any insights into your day-to-day job? If your LinkedIn profile only contains company name, dates, and job title, then you have to update your LinkedIn profile. That's key. And also, this is a good point, which a lot of people do. Do you have the same wording in your CV and your LinkedIn profile? If it's just if it's not aligned, if you don't have the same job title, if you don't have the same experience, then that creates mistrust. All of your CV, portfolio, and LinkedIn should be creating trust that you know what you're doing. The clarity that what you say you do in your CV is also demonstrated in your portfolio, and then your LinkedIn profile just brings that all together. If it's tick, can you understand? Like, there's so many people that don't do this, and it's so simple. If it's all aligned And if you're telling the same story, if you're transporting the hiring manager into a day in the life of me, you've pretty much got the job. The interview process is more about, will this person fit in with my team? So, they want to understand your personality. And then you will start hearing in interviews, how can we work together? So it's incredibly powerful. So that's your LinkedIn. And then your job search is just, when you're applying to jobs, you want to see commonality. So do some research about the companies that you're applying to, look at their websites, and get a feel for who they recruit. Like, what skills do they have? What projects do they work on? Is the body of your work similar to theirs? And if you've worked on similar projects, are they in your portfolio? If no, update your portfolio. Consistency is key here, right across the board. So that's your job search. I always remember the people who add a bit of personality into their introduction. These days, and it really, really bugs me, there's a career coach on LinkedIn that is repetitively putting up introductory templates. And do you know how many times I've seen those templates? I want you to be far more original than using AI or somebody's template online. I just see someone that is in a panic. Sure, I completely get that. And this is why I'm doing these LinkedIn lives, because I want you to get ahead of your job search. I want you to be prepared, because when you're in a panic mode, you do not produce as good a work as when you're, in a great mood. So with my platinum subscribers, for example, if they're not in the right frame of mind when we're doing a coaching session, I'll send them out. I'll send them outside to do some star jumps, to, get their headspace in a different kind of mindset, so that they're more inspired to come back and go, right, okay, stop feeling so restricted. And who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? So doing your CV and portfolio ahead of time, so that you're not in a panic-stricken state and just cramming everything in. Even, do you get where I'm coming from? Cramming a lot of information into a small space doesn't feel great. Create this freedom and create confidence throughout the body of your work, so that we can see your imagery. Actually, on the imagery, I've in portfolios, people have a terrible habit of putting a massive 3D rendered hero image, which sometimes they didn't even produce, and then the technical drawings or the sketches are teeny tiny. Then if you try to zoom in on that image to see the detail in that image, it's all pixelated. So it's pointless at being there. We want to see your work and the level of capability that you have. So please use high resolution imagery. Quite a lot of tier 1 companies do come back to me and say, Hayley, can you get that person to put high resolution imagery into their portfolio? I say there's quite a lot. Most hiring managers, they only say this to me because they know that we've got our portfolio masterclasses, etc. Most hiring managers do not have time to go back to people to give them feedback. And this is why, no one kind of knows this stuff. It's because, they are at least one man short. So going back to hundreds or thousands of applicants is pretty much impossible. It's too time consuming. You need one person on their own, if not more, to go back to all of those people to give them the right individual feedback. But also, these insights are so valuable. So really stop kind of listening to, if you're hearing information and it makes you feel restricted in any way, shape or form, discard that, because it's holding you back in your job search. So yeah, if you want to find out 3 insights on the 5 areas or 5 touch points on your job search, please register on our website and you will get those 5 emails. They're all free, and your 3 insights on each of those areas. There's loads more, I have to say. Some of our platinum subscribers are like, oh wow, I really didn't I didn't get that. I've been quite restricted in my job search, and your masterclass has made me feel really free. And I think that was yesterday I got that feedback, which is it made me a bit emotional, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, she's gonna fly in her career. She's really embracing all the modules. Her CV is starting to get there, but she's finding her own way to be individual. All of you designers inspire people on a daily basis with the projects that you produce. I want you to feel that in the body of your CV and portfolio, and then your LinkedIn too. You have the potential, and I know you do because of the work that you do. So I want to feel that in your CV and portfolio, because emotion evokes people to take action. People take action based on emotion. So I want to feel that in the body of your CV and portfolio. Right, let me just scroll down. Oh, whoopsie, I didn't see these come through. Perfect, but I have a meeting after a few minutes. Is there a conversation going on in the chat here? I have no idea what's going on here. There's a couple of comments that are coming through that I'm just like, is that in relation to something I've said? I don't know. Okay, so I think this might be something. Let me just bring this up. Rua, hello, I'm thrilled to be attending this live session today. Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here, Rua. Could you please let me know the best process for scheduling a private meeting with you? Sure. So if you go onto our website, aerecruitment.ae, you can book a one-to-one session with me with any of the reviews, and we can go from there. Or register your details here by scanning this QR code. I was just about to say barcode then. But yes, Rua, I can't wait to work with you. So we've just run over an hour, and I feel like I'm losing my voice. But while I've got you all here, can you, and I'm going to show you now, actually, let me do a screen share, because I have 3 amazing guests who are going to be coming on and talking with me on these LinkedIn Lives during July. I'm going to be getting emails out to over 100,000 of you, hopefully starting this afternoon. But I want you guys to feel really super inspired about your job search, and not feel restricted anymore. I'm sick of hearing people like going, oh, Hayley, I can't do this because of this, and I can't do that because of X. I want you to feel alive with your job search, because it's one time in your life that you can really flip your career on its head and catapult your career. And I've seen it happen so many times in my career. People going through our portfolio masterclass, or any of our masterclasses, or even reviews with me, they come away going, yes, I feel in control. I know that I can do this, and that I want you to feel empowered and inspired. So I've got these LinkedIn Lives during July. Let me share my screen so I can show you where to find them. It is going to be slightly different, because you're seeing my profile from my perspective rather than yours. So let me show you here. So on this, can you see my mouse? It's going large. Hopefully you can. So on this right-hand side here, you will have a bell. And what I want you to do is click that bell so that you get notifications of job search tips. You can just unclick it if you're not in a job search. But what I'm trying to say is I post every single day valuable insights that you guys can use. And then if you want to get all of this information in one go, we've got our masterclasses, etc. on our website. Oh yeah, you'll also see here that I've got some jobs, but please make sure that you've got your CV and portfolio aligned before, because like I said earlier, these interior designers that have been applying I'm I'm a little bit disappointed. I've had to go back to 120 people. Anyway, back to the LinkedIn Lives. So here we have, starting on the 24th, we've got Ray Brown. He is amazing. He's got ArchBiz, and basically he makes architectural practices more profitable. Now, what we find, and we find this on the recruitment side, architects are amazing what they do with the design and making people feel amazing in a space, a building, an outside space, public area, but they're not always great at managing a business. So what we are going to discuss with Ray is how to, what you need to learn to get into a managerial role, director, partner, associate, more the commercial aspect. We then have Andy Shaw on the 28th of July. And by the way, guys, click on each of these and click your attendance so that you get the notifications. And like I said at the top, click the little bell that you will see on my profile so that you get these notifications. We then have Andy Shaw, the ex chair of the Gulf region of REBA. How valuable is this, guys? You can get your questions lined up for these events so that you can ask the experts their views. Really, I want you guys to really embrace this time with these guys. It's going to be a similar session to what we're doing today. And then we've got Nikita Morel, who is amazing. Now, she is a website designer, she's been specializing in architecture. And I don't know if any of you follow her, but she comes up with very similar viewpoints to what I say in my LinkedIn Lives and my posts. Architects, this is one of her lines, architects produce websites for other architects, and again, she says the same thing, only 3D renders. That's not going to give your clients, if you've got a business, it's not going to give your clients an insight into the backstory and the brief and the emotional kind of side of it. So what I've done with these LinkedIn Lives, let me just bring myself back here, back in the room. What I'm trying to do here is, how do I get myself off this? Hi, stop. Right. What I'm trying to do here is give you insights from different perspectives. And what you'll notice is there's some real common themes here that I think are going to be super valuable for your job search and your career. So please click your attendance on those events. Like I said, I'm going to be getting out 100,000 emails with notifications of how to do this. LinkedIn user. Hey, oh, by the way, this is a LinkedIn insight tip. If you're coming up LinkedIn user, you are not, you need to change your settings. If you want your name to appear, what, when you go on to LinkedIn and say people who have viewed your profile, you'll just have LinkedIn user. If you're in a job search, there's so many times where I've gone into people who've viewed your profile and I've gone, oh my God, there's an amazing architect working for Big or I don't know, OMA, Morphosis, Boston Partners. And I've gone, oh, I've got a role for them. Go on and message them. And then they've got an interview. During your job search, you need to be visible as possible. And that's what we're trying to do here throughout your CV portfolio and LinkedIn job search. Make you more visible, but also visible for all your amazing design skills. So you might, LinkedIn user, you might want to go and change your settings. Hey, just wanted to know, while doing job applications, what do people refer to as cold email or sending applications through the portal? Also, just wanted to know that while doing cold emails, should we share our resumes or portfolio? Look, of course you should. I think so. The difficult thing with a job search, and this is what nearly everyone feels, is that they will get to a job search and they start sending out messages, right? And if you go through, I obviously can't show you my inbox on LinkedIn, but most of them say, want me to do something for them. And I'm like, I I can't go back to everyone. And B, I don't know most of these people. Like Alex, who was at the beginning of this LinkedIn Live. I don't know if she's still here with me. She's someone that I've known for over 10 years. So we've got a relationship throughout the years on, various sides of her career journey and my career journey. And her messages, for example, with more friends than anything, we haven't actually met face to face, like in person, but you guys kind of come to a job search and you're asking strangers to do things for you. And it's like, I don't know you. My time is money at the end of the day. I've got a website on there. I'm posting every day about things that you can do to help with your job search. We have like our website and that I've spent years on putting these masterclasses together. Like, start getting involved way ahead of a job search. And this is why, again, I'm trying to do these LinkedIn lives. Shouldn't be waiting till you get to a job search for someone to say, your portfolio needs updating, your CV needs updating. What is that in your LinkedIn? Your LinkedIn says that you're a technical architect, but your CV says that you're a design architect. What the hell? There's inconsistencies. So, you're also in a better frame of mind, better mood, etc., when you're not searching for a job. Let's face it, it's stressful. It's certainly stressful when people are ghosting you, but you need to get into a conversation with people long before you need them. Start learning about them. Comment on their posts. It's so simple. Even that in itself. Yay! Hey, Alex. She's still here. See, 2014. I helped Alex get a job in 2014. We're still talking in 2026. So yeah, we've grown together. I know what she's all about. She knows what I'm all about. And we've continued our chat, and she inspires me. I inspire her. It's great. But, you guys need to start commenting on people's posts so that we get to know who you are. And this is how actually I have picked up all these guests that I'm getting on these LinkedIn lives, by commenting and seeing who they are. They are very active on LinkedIn, and I've, just by what they say, I know that we're going to have a lot to talk about. We haven't like planned each live within an inch of its life. They don't know what I'm going to ask them. We've got an idea, and they have an idea through the body of what we were discussing, because it was so free flowing with each of them. So they've got an idea. But what I mean is that all of you guys in architecture, and I say this week in, week out, up to 2,500 of you watch these lives every week. Now go and have a look at a chat. Less than 10%, way less, 1% of you comment. How ridiculous is that? So the people who comment on, it doesn't need to be on my post necessarily. It just start like having conversations, or commenting on industry stuff or projects, or companies are always talking about the projects they're working on, or talking about all of the awards they're winning. Start like having conversations. It's so simple. Get yourself out there, get yourself seen, please. David Black, do you ever recruit or have conversations around business and finance roles within architectural practices? No. David, it's not my area of expertise, and I don't pretend to want to be involved in finance. I love architecture, I love design, and when I'm not on LinkedIn or recruiting or doing my coaching sessions with everyone, I'm pretty much watching landscape and interior design projects or architecture. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's my bag. And yeah, that gives me more than enough to be working on. So yes, if you're on this LinkedIn live and you're in IT, accounting, finance, banking, engineering, like civil engineering, I'm not really for you. I'm sure you will get some great insights. But yeah, yeah, architecture and design is my bag. I love it. Absolutely love it. Hence why I do all of this stuff. Right, Alex, reverse mentoring is a thing. We always have something to learn from another. Yeah, like I said, Alex and I have been talking since 2014, when I helped to get a job. So yeah, start getting in conversations, and people, once you get to a job search, you've got your network, like even your colleagues and things. Start posting, start engaging with colleagues, or like people at university or other directors. You start talking about things that are going on in the industry. Keep it simple, so you don't feel so exposed. Or even, like, I don't know, software things that you found a solution for, and then start the conversation there. It's really not scary once you get yourself out there. It really isn't. So just like get ahead of it, start talking to people before you need them, because this is where like the ghosting thing happens, I think, from time to time. It's not always. There's lots of reasons, but I think people like put the onus onto someone else. You're in control of your job search. You're in control of your career. Start like getting out there. Ricardo, I am an architect and building engineer, ex-OMA and MVRDV. Send me your CV and portfolio, and just built a tool to help architects improve their portfolios through detailed, actionable feedback. If you want to check it out, right? Okay, I'm going to have a look at that. Because I've also seen some people trying to, I'm not saying this is you, Ricardo. Our portfolio masterclass is tried and tested with the likes of these companies, tier one companies, and we've proved it works time and time and time again. Don't want to spam, but I thought this could be relevant to the conversation. Yes, thank you, Ricardo. It is relevant. We've got our own masterclasses to help you with the complete journey of your job search, from so it's CV, LinkedIn, portfolio, job search, and your personal brand. And Ricardo will be aware of this. Like the people, we even get people from Zaha and Foster's that take our masterclasses. It's not just people who want to get into those areas or those companies. There's definitely a formula, but to stand out, and it's super easy. But I've lost my train of thought now. We get all sorts, like doing our reviews with me, etc. So yeah, I will go and have a look at that. Thank you very much, Ricardo. But yeah, I think, unless, have any of you got any more questions? And if you do, quick, get in. In fairness, if we finish this session, in fairness, I've been going for 1 hour, 17 minutes, and my throat is starting to hurt a little bit. So what I will do, if you are watching this on the live feed, keep going with your questions. If you're watching it after the live feed, please keep going with your questions, because everyone learns something from these. And if you want to have a look at, by the way, if you want to register on our website, you will get 5 emails and 3 tips on each area of your job search that you can implement straight away. There's obviously far more than 3 on every kind of area of your job search, but that will give you some inspiration to start with. So Nally, we've got, I think we'll probably just, I'll end it after this one if we don't have any other questions. So Nani, sorry, I sent Nally earlier on. I do apologize. I have done diploma in building design and have completed bachelor in architecture and have experience working in Australia, but still hard to get a job. Could you mind giving some suggestions? Well, one, please, like, register on our website, Nanny, and get those insights, because what we find from the recruitment side is that CVs are usually 2-3 pages and don't contain the information that we need. They're usually devoid of the projects and the really the information that we need for our hiring managers to make a decision. We then get to a point where the portfolio only contains 3D renders, so the question marks start coming into play of, well, are you actually a 3D visualizer rather than, I don't know, an architect, landscape architect, interior designer, etc. So, I think there's lots and lots of tips. I'm trying to pick up, like, sometimes I get inspired when somebody posts a question and I'm on point, but I can't. You've got so many touch points, Nanny. And what I would probably do is go onto my profile, scroll down, click, there's a little bell. First of all, click that so you get notifications of my daily posts that all give tips and tricks and whatever. And then scroll down a little bit and under the activity, there's events, and start like going through the LinkedIn lives that I've done previously. You'll get some insights there. So hopefully that helps, Nanny. I do apologize, that wasn't like more lengthy, but yeah, my throat is starting to go. LinkedIn user. What is the legwork one must do before booking a portfolio session with you? Not a lot. Go to the website, aerecruitment.ae, click on the menu, select portfolio review, and book a session. Easy as pie. So as soon as you go through the portfolio review, you will get an email from me with my diary. So you can book it there and then. We can get a session in today. I think my diary's okay this afternoon, but if not, let's get one in early next week. Let's get your portfolio singing and dancing and inspiring people to take action on your work. So yes, LinkedIn user. Also, you might, because you've got LinkedIn user here, you might want to go back through this LinkedIn live, because people won't be able to see that you're looking. So if you're looking at like directors' profiles and stuff, and I said this earlier on, I've actually picked up like amazing people, like Ricardo was saying, from OMA, MVRDV. I love those two companies, who have looked at my profile and I've gone, oh, I haven't actually advertised this role yet, but I've got a role for them. So I've reached out, and then within days they've got interviewed. So if you're in a job search, change the settings so that everyone can see that you're looking at their profiles, you're visible. But yes, please go on to LinkedIn user, aerecruitment.ae, click the menu, select portfolio review, and as soon as you've gone through that process, I will send you my diary and we will get a session in ASAP. So, right, I'm going to wrap things up there. Hopefully that's given you some insights today. And please, send me a message if there's certain things that you think I want to talk. Can you talk about this next week? Get it in there. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, we've got the platinum subscription. We've got some awesome people in there. And yeah, if you want to work with me one-on-one, go onto the website. You can register on our website here. There's loads and loads of options. So, I want as many of you to start standing out a little bit more and stop feeling so restricted by the nonsense that's put out there on the internet. Like, let's get rid of these chains you're all in. I want you to be seen for being the amazing designers that you are. Know that you're in control of your job search and your career, and that you can fly. The world's your oyster, and it really, really is, especially because you're in the design sector. You get to inspire people on a daily basis with your buildings, with your public spaces, with your interior designs, a landscape, etc. Bring that into your CV and portfolio so that people can see who you are, and it's a no-brainer to get you into an interview, even if a job doesn't exist at that company. It's happened with me on numerous occasions throughout my career, where I phoned up a director saying, right, get your diary out, you need to see this guy or girl or whoever. I've got an amazing designer for you, or I've got an amazing landscape architect, whatever. You need to see them immediately. And those people have got the job. And that's all because of the power of their CV, LinkedIn, and portfolio. You will not believe the power that you have. So hopefully, I'm going to need to lay down after this. So hopefully that gives you some insights. Please go to my profile and attend or register your attendance to the up and coming LinkedIn Lives. There's going to be loads in the week of 23rd of July. I'm going to really have to rest my voice till then, I think. But yes, so please go and register your attendance for the other LinkedIn Lives up and coming. If you want to work with me one-on-one, please go to arecruitment.ae. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I cannot wait to see you next week with all your other questions. And it's been great. Thank you so much, guys, for all your interaction.